Alright guys, so how's it going? We're doing another pellet test video today. I figured I'd include the gun in the shot so you guys could see what gun is being shot out of. We're doing a custom 2400 KT as the test gun. It's got a high pack on it at 2500 PSI we're operating at. We are doing the RWS Super Hollow point today, a 14.2 grain pellet. 22 caliber 5.5 millimeter we're testing today. Obviously I'm sure they sell these in 177, maybe even 25, I'm not too sure. This is what the pellet looks like. Get the focus here. So you got a wide hollow point there, have that beveled nose, thick skirt. Got a very thick skirt. If we compare this to, I wanted to show you guys very quickly here. These are Crosman hollow point premieres, okay? So just like look at the difference. First off, these are much shorter. And then if you also notice, look how thin the skirt is in comparison. It's the RWS on the left. It's the Crosman hollow point premiere on the right. So you can see the RWS pellet has a much thicker skirt, and some people might really like that. I like it too because I'm assuming, you know, in my opinion, if they come intact and they're not all beat up from the tin, then they're going to be a bit more uniform in general. I've had issues with the Crosman hollow point, you know, premieres. You know, the thin skirt always has some little deformity, you know, of spreading out your groups and whatnot. So we're going to do accuracy testing. We're going to do a bunch of ballistic shooting. We're going to do a barrier test. So, and then we'll, you know, do, so we'll take a look at all that and like review how the pellet performed. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy this video, and let me know what other pellets you want me to do, or what other questions or videos you want me to answer and do. And yeah, enjoy. All right. Alright guys, so we just did the non-barrier clay test. So we shot this at about 15 yards with the RWS Super Hollow point. And man, oh man, guys, I think it did pretty good. See, there's my finger. My finger can fit into this wound cavity, you know? And if you guys have watched the Cro-Magnon pellet test, so this is going to get really interesting here, because this pellet obviously expanded, right? But it actually fragmented. So we're going, and then right at 4 inches, look at this. You have this piece of lead right here. Look at that. It fragmented. Expanded so much it exploded. And then down here at around 5 1/4 inches or 5 1/2, we have that base right there. So here is a non-fired RWS Super point or Super Hollow point, and there is what it looks like after it's been fired. Talk about expansion, huh? Now, you could view this in a good or a bad way. You know what I mean? For softer targets, this is probably a good thing. You know, it's distributing a crap ton of energy, and it's actually getting pretty damn good penetration. I wanted to say this, that this wound cavity is probably only slightly smaller than the Cro-Magnon. It's pretty much the same size. I mean, it's massive. If we measure it here, I mean, look at that. Just like right at an inch, just under an inch in diameter of the wound cavity. So, you know, very, very impressive. But it penetrated deeper than the Cro-Magnon. The Cro-Magnon stopped at 3 inches. Why? Because it stayed together, where this one fragmented, letting this narrow, denser core, this base, continue traveling on into the clay. Very interesting. So we're going to do a barrier test with this now. We're going to shoot this into clay through a barrier, and that barrier is right here. This is 4 layers of aluminum, okay? The middle has 2 layers of aluminum, and the front and back has 1. And then it's 2 pieces of thin pine. And we're going to shoot through this and see how the deformation of the pellet after the barrier affects the performance into the clay. That should be pretty interesting. I mean, if you look at this one, wow, we should measure this one. I mean, this one right here is like, yep, that's an inch. That's an inch wound cavity. Look at that. So major, major trauma. Okay, so let's do the barrier test. Alright, so guys, that was 5 shots at 40 yards with the RWS Super Hollow Point pellet, 14.2 grain pellet, 5.5 millimeter, 22 caliber. And as you can see here, we got about an inch and an eighth group, right over an inch. So these pellets did pretty damn good. They're hollow point pellets. This is a great hunting accuracy for 40 yards. And I'm sure that with a little bit more practice, I could squeeze a better accuracy out of these pellets. Or if I actually had like a stand I was shooting off of, and not just a chair, then I could probably tighten these groups up a little bit. Or, you know, if I had a better trigger, a bunch of excuses I could put. But you know what? I'm happy with this group. It's pretty much, you know, one ragged hole. You know, can't complain with that. And yeah, I'm sure you guys can shoot these better, and they're just good pellets. So they're definitely not like flyers, you know. We didn't get any major flyers, so good pellets. Let's move on to shooting some other stuff and have some fun. Alright, so we just got done with our barrier shot, and obviously we had full penetration on the barrier successfully. This was 2 layers of wood and 4 layers of aluminum, 2 in the middle, 1 on each side. After it broke through the barrier, it traveled about 3 inches into the clay. As you can see here, that's a piece of aluminum it dragged in. Dragged in pieces of wood, dragged in pieces of aluminum. You know, I'm actually pretty impressed with the performance of what happened here. You know? Because I was thinking, because of the fragmentation qualities of this round, that it really wouldn't do well after it went through something like this. Like, I thought that we'd find it about an inch or 2 in maybe. But this is actually a very nice penetration after. I mean, you could imagine this could be a skull of some sort of an animal. This could be ribs. This could be a shoulder of a raccoon. So this could be a lot of things that the pellet went through technically, and you still got a decent depth of penetration. 3¼ inches. And you also have maybe 1/4 to a 1/2 inch wound cavity size. So not only did it go in, but it still created some sort of a shock pathway. You can see this is what is left of the pellet. And you know what's interesting about this round in particular actually, looks like it did not fragment. It looks like the metal and the wood crimped the expanded, mushroom and kept it from falling apart, because now I did another clay shot without a barrier, so I made a ball of just clay. And the reason for that is that if you notice, look how big this wound cavity is. Look at that. So that was a super hollow point. And look at this. You see that piece in there? That's a piece of lead right before the exit. See that? See, these rounds almost always fragment. So it's interesting to note that when it went through the barrier, that it actually did not fragment, and it still mushroomed. It mushroomed and stayed together and drove home pretty effectively into the clay. And you can see in this one, man, whew, can't wait to see the slow-mo on this. Like, damn. Like, holy crap. I mean, again, like, look, my finger, like, look at that. You would not want that to be you or the animal who got hit by this round. Not going far. I'm surprised by this round, obviously. So this is the RWS Super Hollow point. It's a 14.2 grain, 22 caliber, 5.5 millimeter round. And it really surprises me because honestly, like I said, I thought that the fact that it likes to fragment would kind of make it an underperformer in the sense of penetration and then barrier penetration. Like, okay, I thought, cool, it makes crazy shock, and fragments when you shoot just clay, but when you're realistically hunting and shooting through fur and bone, you need something that's going to drive home and finish the job and not just fragment in the first couple inches. So this exceeded my expectations. Now, is this a round that you would use for deep penetration or big game for an air gun? No. This honestly looks like it would really excel anywhere from birds, rabbits, squirrels, up to raccoon. And that's probably it. Raccoons probably maybe pushing it a little bit for this round just because it is a lighter weight pellet. And if you compare this to the Cro-Magnon that we reviewed last week is 18 grains. So 4 grains heavier. I think it's like 18.9. So over 4 grains heavier than this pellet right here. So this is pretty much, if you guys are familiar with the Crosman Premier Hollow Points, this is pretty much the same weight. Okay, it's in the same class as those pellets. But if you actually put these side by side, these pellets are a good bit taller than the Crosman Hollow Point Premiers. Also, if you notice, the skirt is unusually thick at the base. Very reinforced skirt, while in comparison, the head of the pellet is almost very petite, and the hollow point is very wide. That's probably why, obviously why it fragments, because it doesn't have much to hold on to. So, I have to say, this is a really great pellet, honestly, because, one, we got fantastic grouping and accuracy off the thing, which, when it comes to airgun hunting, or even hunting in general of any kind, the accuracy of your arrow, pellet, bullet is really the most important thing, because if you hit the heart, if you hit the brain, expansion in the end doesn't matter as much. But it is a fantastic expanding round. So not only does this give you the precision and ability to be accurate and consistent, but this actually is a great performing expansion round. So, and not only that, but this round would be good for people who shoot guns of lower FPSs. So if you're not pushing above, let's say, like 700 FPS in your 22 caliber, this would be a great hollow point for you because it probably will not fragment at that speed. My gun's shooting it upwards of 700, and so it's fragmenting. But if you were to shoot it under 700, around there, you'd probably see really nice, just consistent expansion. It'd probably retain its weight. Very accurate pellets, so you can put it right where you need it. And also, you can use it out to farther ranges because of the fact that it's accurate and consistent. I think its accuracy has a lot to do with the front of the pellet and the base. The front of the pellet, the way it's beveled towards the hollow point, just makes it look like it's very aerodynamic. It's not like overly aggressive. And that base is nice and thick, so it's not easily damaged or dented. So as long as you get a good tin of pellets, they should stay uniform. Like if you drop them or if they get a little dinged up, they'll survive better than like Crosman hollow point premiers who have very thin skirts. So, you know, a lot of interesting things to take into account when you're looking at this little pellet in comparison to, you know, all the other pellets that are out there. So, I think this concludes the review of the RWS Super Hollow Point in 22 caliber. It's been a very fun review. We got really fantastic results. I got this tin from Bass Pro. You can get them on Pyramid Air, Airgun Depot. You can probably not find them at Walmart. You can't find them at Walmart. I've never seen RWS pellets sold at Walmart. This is also, by the way, the first time I've personally used RWS pellets of any sort. So I'm pretty happy with my first experience with them. And I definitely wanted to do a hollow point review to start with. We're going to do pellet reviews of all different kinds. Pretty much every pellet that exists I'm going to go through. And it's partially just to see what my gun likes the most. And you guys can come on that adventure with me and we can see how these pellets perform and compare them. So guys, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. Let me know what other pellets you would like me to review. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Have fun shooting. Have a great day. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Okay.